Welcome, bent riders around the world. My name is Gary Solomon, and you're watching the Laidback Bike Report. So glad to have you all with us today. We've got a show that I think will stand out as one of our best with some interesting folks. Let me tell you a little bit about it. We're going to open up with Bryan Ball, and he's going to tell us what's going on in the recumbent world with the news. And then we have a very special guest from Germany. It's Maria Jeanne Dompierre, also known as the Liegerad Frau. We're going to talk to her about a number of things having to do with women and recumbent bikes and trikes. We have Peter Stull with us again this month, and Peter is going to give us another history lesson. This time having to do with, I think, the BikeE and some of the precursors and is post-cursors a word? I'm not sure, but the things that came after. So we're looking forward to talking to Peter a little bit later on. We hope to have Sylvia Halpern from Central America live on her Trike tour. We had Sylvia with us a little bit, and then we kind of lost her. So we're going to work and see if we can get her back in time. Hopefully we'll have Sylvia with us as well. Denny will be on with our sports report, talking ultra cycling again this month. And we're going to do the Laidback Bike Report quiz contest. Let me tell you a little bit about that. If you are watching the show and want to participate in the contest, pay attention to what our guests say and the slides, the pictures that accompany what they're saying. The first viewer to best answer the questions that I ask later on in the show will be the winner. I will have you email the answers to my questions to laidbackbikereport@gmail.com. And of course, this is for live viewers only. That only makes sense. And the winners will have a choice of one of our amazing Laidback Bike Report hats or a Fat Chick Goes AWOL book. So hopefully that will suffice as a prize for you. And if you've won in the last few months, we would hope that you kind of abstain and let some of our other viewers have a shot at it. I hope you won't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you look down in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see a little red subscribe button. Click that, and there's also a notification bell that'll pop up on YouTube. If you'll click the notification bell, it'll let you know when we go live or have a video posted. So that will help you to see when we're doing something interesting on YouTube. And I would hope also that if you'll look in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a little eye, and that would have that would be the information link, and that will take you to our website where you can find all kinds of information about the Laidback Bike Report, what we do, what we have done, what's coming up. Yeah, all those things. So the little white eye in the upper right-hand corner. Also, we have the live chat going today. I see we've got a lot of people already participating from all over the world. I see actually Julie Lovegrove from England, and we've had Jim Pratt from Copenhagen, all over the place, I guess. So we really love to see what you guys have to say as you participate in the live show. So if you are watching on YouTube, you'll just see the live chat window right on that side. If you're on mobile, usually it's below. You have to scroll up a little bit to see it. If you're watching us on Facebook or Twitter or on Bent Rider, you won't see the live chat right there. You want to click through to the little logo that says YouTube on the bottom of your watch screen, take you right through to the YouTube site, and then you'll be able to see the live chat. For the first time, live chat is going to accompany this video that will be on YouTube after our webcast is done. And it'll scroll up and show you what's being chatted about during the show as people chat. So that's the first time that YouTube is doing that. So we're excited about that. If you chat with us, it will be there and everybody will be able to see what you're talking about as you chat. So we look forward to seeing what that looks like afterwards. On the chat, you can chat with our panelists. You can ask questions of our guests and chat with your fellow bent riders on chat. So let's see how you guys can make use of that today. Today's show is sponsored by Terracycle, makers of exquisite recumbent parts and accessories for your bent, and Trailside.bike, a fine recumbent bike shop on the Withlacoochee Trail in Florida, and Velocity, builders of performance wheels and rims, handmade in the USA. All right, folks, let me introduce our fine set of panelists that we have today. These guys are awesome. Help me out with the show. We got a lot to do to make this show possible for you guys to view. And these are the people that help me. So first of all, from Germersheim, no, he will be in Germersheim, Germany. But right now from Germany, our show director, Lars Kamm. Lars?
Hi, folks.
I have no idea why that says Germersheim. I think
I corrected that 3 times. I given up on that, so
yeah.
don't worry.
Okay. Well, we'll have to do it again and make it non-writable, I think. Okay, let's go to Raymond, Mississippi. I think that's right. Our media man himself. Here's Trey Burgoyne. Hey, Trey.
Hello. Glad to be here.
It's good to see you. And now Rochester, New York is where we'll find the founder and editor of Bent Rider and the anchor of the Laidback news desk. It's Bryan Ball. Hey, Bry.
He's still
Bryan,
muted.
you must be muted, I guess. So
there we go. I clicked on it once. I had to click on it twice.
okay. Well, anyways, I guess you said hello, probably. So it's good to see you, Bryan. And Sarah, Pennsylvania is where we're going to find the Laidback sports desk anchor. It's Denny Voorhees. Hello, Denny.
Hi, how you doing, guys? I'm wrangling a maverick cat here, so she wants to take down my green screen. So this is
we'll know why when that happens, I guess.
Yeah, you will. Yeah.
All right, and then we're going to go to Cold Spring, Kentucky, where we find our good friend Larry Varney. Hello, Larry.
Hi, everybody. And I trimmed my beard just for this show, so now you can read what my T-shirts all say.
Yeah, that's an oldie but goodie there on your T-shirt.
It is.
I remember those. All right, thanks. It's good to see you too, Larry. All right, folks, I think we're going to open up today with a little news from Bryan. He's going to tell you about a couple of recumbents. And Bryan, go ahead and take it from there.
I successfully unmuted myself this time. Hello, everybody. Yeah, we have a couple cool things coming out. It's the winter time, getting off. Almost, it's technically spring, I guess, but still a bit winter. So not a whole ton of stuff, but a couple of very cool things have come out. We have, first of all, the new Azub Tie-Fly X. This is the new 26 version of the Tie-Fly. I love the Tie-Fly. I think everybody who's ridden it loves it. It is an amazing trike. This was originally kind of a custom commission that they did for someone who was going to do the Great Divide Path Trail, wanted an off-road trike. They liked it so much that now it's a full production trike. The full production version is different than the custom they made. It does have wider hubs in the front to make those front wheels a bit less flexy than they would be normally. 26, it's designed for an off-road trike that you can absolutely ride it on the road. And it comes with Azub's full myriad of options, which are lengthy. You can carry multiple panniers on it. Comes with you can get a Shimano Steps electric assist system if you want. Very, very awesome trike. Not cheap, but very, very cool trike. And that typical Azub build quality. Really cool thing. I really can't wait to ride one at Spetsy. They had one at RCC, but we weren't allowed to ride it. It was like the prototype for the guy that they were sending for his trip. Also, just coming out in the last week or so, and I actually have one, and I have ridden it. You'll see the review on Bent Rider in the next day or two. You have the new Q45 from Cruise Bike. They are calling this an adventure bike, and I will say it is very much that. It's designed to carry a lot of panniers. It handles really, really well. I've had problems in the past where I found the higher speed, more high performance cruise bikes to actually be easier to ride than the cheaper ones, because just the way that the handlebars are angled, you don't get as much leverage on the lower end ones. Instead of it going straight up, on the lower end ones, they go straight up. On these, they're more angled back. This has the more angled back like you'd see on a Sylvia or a Vendetta, but it is a slightly lower price trike. It's designed to be an all-around touring trike. Is pretty darn foldable, I have to say. You can get it down into a pretty small package to take it on an airplane. You're going to pay extra. It's going to be an oversized airplane thing, but you can travel with it. It is very cool. $2,350, not at all unreasonable once you see the components on it. Once I had it out of the box, I think it's priced about right. Very, very, very cool trike, and you can do darn near just about anything with it. So please do check out the Q45. As I said, my review will be up in a couple of days. And I think that's about all we got for this week.
Very good. Thank you very much, Bryan. That was great. All right, folks, let's move along. I want to talk about our guest today who first appeared on my radar when I was researching other video coverage of Spetzi. I watched her coverage of Eurobike and visits to ICE and Haza and HP Velotechnik, and I was impressed by the style and humor of her interviews. Though produced in German, I was able to follow along using the closed captioning translation on YouTube. Using Google Translate, I then began reading her blog and found a treasure trove of recumbent reviews and themes. She is very popular in Germany, and I think it's high time her work is more widely seen around the world. Bent Riders, please welcome Deutschland's very own recumbent lady, Maria Jeanne Dompierre. Hello, Maria.
Hello.
We're so glad to have you with us.
Thank you for having me as a guest.
You're very, very welcome. We're very excited and been working on this for a while, so we're really happy to have you here. Let's start the interview, if you would, by telling us a little bit about your biking and recumbent biking history.
Yeah, well, I'm riding a recumbent bike now for around 15 years. And first I had a grasshopper, you would say in English, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And because trikes weren't available from HP Velotechnik back then. And my story, how I went to see the recumbent bicycles is pretty unique, I think, because I really didn't like the recumbent bicycles at all. Every time I saw someone on the road on such a bicycle, I had to smile, and I thought, well, this would never happen to me. And but I had a bicycle dealer who was a specialist in recumbents, and he said to me, well, you know, you are riding your bicycle to work every day for 1 hour, going to work and to come back another hour. And he said, I can give you the third seat with more gel. I can do some more adjustments at the bicycle, but you always are going to have pain in your neck, in your wrists, and in your shoulders, unless you are trying a recumbent. And this is really for you. And I thought, no way. So I borrowed a grasshopper for 1 week, and I tried it out. What should I say? He had right. But I was very, very ashamed to be seen on such a bicycle, I have to confess.
So that part of it you didn't get over yet. You were worried about what people would think about you riding such a thing, and then you found it was the right bicycle for you, but even so, you still were worried about what people were thinking.
Exactly. It was not very easy for me to ride that bicycle either because of the balance when you start up, and I had my little dog in the basket behind me, so there was some more weight on the bicycle. But I overcame to be ashamed. I bought a grasshopper myself, and I was very, very happy. Really, it was a solution for all my problems. And later, I got a trike.
That's going to bring us to my second question. So, tell us about because that's pretty much all you ride now, I believe, is trikes. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, so tell us about how the whole trike thing evolved. Tell us about that first trike, and maybe bring us up to date to what it is that you're riding right now.
Right now, I'm riding a Scorpion from HP Velotechnik, and I was very fascinated when I saw the first time at the at my bicycle, Guy, as I call him. And I thought it was a very attractive appearance and that it looked very fun. I had a test ride and it felt like, you sit on a go-kart and it was very fun. And I thought, okay, this doesn't look so bad. It feels really good. And then I switched. I sold my Grasshopper to get money so I could surprise my dad to have his own trike. I used the money for that. This is how I brought him to the recumbent bicycles, because my mom already was a fan. And it was a good investment. So I'm very happy with my Scorpion. And I ride, let's say, 4 to 5 days a week, I ride my trike.
All right. So you got the recumbent bike, and then you kind of went into the recumbent trikes, found out that is exactly what you were after. And then you became one of us. So you were riding your recumbents around, enjoying maybe touring and all that stuff. We'll talk about that later. But the reason I have you here today is because you became known as the Liegerad Frau. And so I know everyone's a little bit curious about how that evolved. How did you go from just being a everyday rider like us to wanting to maybe tell your story and learn more and share more with people that would tune into you on your blog and such? How did that all come about?
Well, to be honest, I was looking around for blogs on recumbent bicycles, and there were maybe 2 or 3 in the German language. And I want to be diplomatic, but honestly, I thought they are really not very attractive. I was not satisfied, and I was a bit disappointed, and I really wanted to know more about these recumbents. I wanted to see how people go on tour. I wanted to read about their experiences. And then I thought, okay, don't complain, just prove that you can do it better. And this is how I started my blog. And I was not too shy to start videos. And this I also missed very much on the other blogs. And I thought, okay, let's try to do videos and see how people like it. And yeah, I thought I'd do it for a year or 2. And then I will close it down again. But suddenly it became a success.
Successful enough that you were able to go, for a while, more than just a year or 2. Very good. Let's maybe focus in a little bit, Maria, on your. Hi, Sylvia. We're glad you're back. Go ahead and mute yourself if you would.
Hey, I'm Sylvia. I am in Palenque, Mexico.
Yeah, Sylvia, if could you mute yourself right this minute? We'll get to you shortly, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Maria, let's see. We were asking about your blog and how it came about. You told us that. Tell us a little bit about what you have in the blog, and how you use that as a vehicle to share your thoughts about recumbent biking.
Yeah, well, of course, I want to spread the message that recumbent bicycles are great, and my wish is that more and more people who are now going on upright cycles, that they at least try the recumbents, and I hope that when they watch my videos and read my text, that they say, well, let's go and try. This sounds really fun, because I know a lot of people have pain to go on tours, and so they don't ride their bicycle as often as they could. So this is one of my intentions, and I am having interviews with the manufacturers like HP Velotechnik and Bikes. I did a series of videos with both of them, testing out a trike and giving my opinion and my recommendation, or what I didn't like with that trike. I film it and I write about it. I also go to the manufacturers where they produce their trikes, and I interview them about philosophy of their company, about their history. How did they start? How did this idea come? Because HP Velotechnik and also Hasebikes, they started as boys at the age of 17. And this is really fun to hear. And they're so nice people. And the philosophy that is behind is really, really fascinating. And this year I'm going to start to do the same with ice trikes. So I'm having a trike, and we'll test it out, and I will give my review on that as well.
So your reviews are very well received, and I think they're very thorough and well done. I always like to read about them. The other aspect of your blog, it has to do with recumbent subjects. You take themes and themes about women riding recumbents and cold weather gear and commuting. So there are various stories that you also tell about themes. How do you work those into the blog? And do you like doing that as well as reviews?
Yeah, I do, because I hope that people, even if they don't have a trike or a recumbent bicycle, I hope that they feel motivated to ride all year, to see how I deal with snow and the cold, what my strategies are. And there are so many topics, because at the end we are all bicyclists. It doesn't matter if we ride a recumbent or not. And so there are a lot of topics people are interested in. They send me emails, of course. Sometimes they have a wish, and then I pick it up and I do something out of it. I do some research, I produce videos. Sometimes I have just ideas, what I'm interested in. And one other aspect which is important for me for my blog is that I always include those who have a trike because they have a handicap. And I always try to address those people as well. And what you don't see on my blog is that I get a lot of emails, which I answer. And I even get phone calls of people who ask me, which trike would you recommend? This and this is my need. Would you recommend me this motor or that motor? Would you recommend me the big wheel behind or the small one? And just a week ago, for example, I got a phone call from a gentleman who is paralyzed and is in a wheelchair, and he now wants to have his own trike with motor. So we had a talk of about 1 hour, and I gave him some recommendations, some things to think about, and we are staying in contact until he has his trike. And
so now, not only are you a blog and a resource then for many people at once to see what's going on, you apparently also are a personal resource for a number of people, which is really nice. You get that personal touch. People contact you and ask you very specific questions.
Yeah, and this, for me, this gives meaning in all I do. It's not just for information or entertainment, but there's also a meaning behind. And I cannot tell you how happy I get if people then send me an email with picture. Look, now I have my trike, and this really makes me happy. Yes.
Yeah, that's that response really, I'm sure, helps to keep you doing what you do. That's all important. Let's, if we can, we talked about different subjects that you might, or some different subjects you might cover. Let's kind of see if we can drill down on one that I know is a bit controversial and you deal with a lot. You kind of mentioned it, and with regards to folks who are disabled, but you ride a trike with e-assist. And I know that you've gotten some pushback from some of your readers and folks around about e-assist trikes and other recumbents. Tell me about your philosophy about e-assist. How did you decide to get into it? And then how do you think it fits in the recumbent world? And also maybe tell me about the resistance you felt from other people.
Well, I have a motor from Go Swiss Drive, and I always thought this is totally unnecessary, and I had this idea of only old people need something like this. I also believe that you lose your fitness. You're not as fit as you could be, for example, and everything turned out to be wrong. I needed this support because I moved and I live up a serious hill. It's about 1 kilometer. It's about, I guess, 0.5 miles, something like this. It goes steep up all the time until I'm home, and then I have my trailer with the dog additionally. And, all this weighs more than my own body weight, and this is impossible for me to carry uphill with my muscles. So, well, I got then my motor, and I learned that everything I believed in is wrong. I am much more fit today than I have been before without any help. I go on my trike more than double as often as before because I had, I always had this thought, oh, today I don't bicycle because when I come home, it's terrible. I will be totally out of breath. So this was keeping me from using my trike. This is completely gone. And you can also, when you have a winter break, you can go on tour with your trike at once if you have an assist, where before you had to train yourself up. So everything leads to that you bicycle much more on your trike if it's easier. And you always can turn it off or go on a very low level of support if you're afraid or if you would like to have better fitness. So this is a great thing, I think. And
so the resistance then that you see, no matter what people think and what they've expressed to you or me or anyone else about e-assist, it's pretty much a fact that e-assist is growing and becoming a very large part of recumbent riding. So how do you respond to those folks that do have a problem with it? Tell me what your response is, because I know you're very diplomatic. So how do you do it?
Let's tell everyone what kind of reactions I get.
Okay, yeah.
Well, there are people, and I have to say mostly men, who say or who write, are you lazy or what? Are you not able to bicycle properly anymore? And they believe that this is ruining to have a e-assist, that this would ruin all the experience, that this is not bicycling anymore, this is not the real and the true and the original. And they feel also sometimes a bit cheated on, because now everyone, can join them in their speed, and everyone can do what they work hard for with only their muscles. So this is their motivation. And there's a funny story of a dealer, of a recumbent bicycle dealer. I really appreciated for many years, but he's also not very fond of e-assist, and he at one point refused to take in my trike for service because he doesn't like that.
Oh man, he wouldn't even work on your trike.
Yeah, he would, but a while he did, but then it was a topic, and I stayed away.
Yes. It's a bit stubborn, if you ask me, but that's interesting. I think that's a real view out there, though. So I think you've handled that very well. Before we get too far along, there's a number of comments and questions here we're getting about your appearance here. We've got, there's a few of these in German. So I think what I'm going to do is ask you, when we get done with the interview, maybe to look through the chat and answer those online, because I can't help you with those. But Room 360 says, the same feeling I have with my assist on my regular bike. I used to bike more often since I got e-assist. Is basically what you're talking about. People tend to even ride more. Somebody says Liegerad Frau, the best one. I think that's just saying
Thank
they
you.
like what they're seeing. All right, and here Jim Pratt says from Copenhagen, everything turned out to be wrong regarding myths related to e-assist. Exactly, thumbs up on the e-assist. So yeah, I think they're misconceptions. I think maybe we've had some people that have converted over from the original idea of like this of what you were talking about, thinking that it's cheating, you're not using your muscles, I don't want those kind of people riding with me and that sort of thing, to maybe, yeah, maybe this is something that's useful, worthwhile for a lot of people. So all right, let's move along to your YouTube channel, I guess is where I'd like to go next. You have the blog, you also have a wonderful YouTube channel that I love watching the videos that you do. I guess my first question would be, you have all these ideas, interviews and such. How do you decide and how do you split up what is going to be a video and what is going to go into your blog?
My mood. Very often my mood. I have to say that if you ask a specialist in blogs, a specialist would say, don't write texts. You have to have video, audio, something like that, and very little text. This doesn't fit to my experience at all. My readers love to read long texts. They really do. And I like writing very much. And if I have, the mood to go in front of camera, I shoot a video. And also, if I think this would be very exciting for my readers and for everyone who's watching my channel, I shoot a video. And
I don't mean to interrupt, Maria. Just excuse me for a minute. We are going to show some screenshots here of some of the videos from your events and from your interviews. And so continue talking, but I just want folks to know what they're seeing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And the reason I didn't shoot so many videos the last, let's say 2 years, 1.5 years, is because I really didn't want to go in front of camera because my dad died and he was very, very ill before that. So I didn't want to go in front of camera because you could see the grief, and I didn't feel very much inspired to go on the camera, to be honest. Yeah. So when I do interviews and or I do a review on a product like a Trike or the cooling box I had just a few months ago, of course I do a video.
Okay.
But my readers very often say, "Oh, can you not shoot more videos?" So this video thing seems to be very, very popular, of course.
Yes, well, I hope so. Perfect. Yeah, go ahead, Bryan. Bryan Ball.
I find the same thing if you're doing interviews and stuff, because on Bent Rider also, if you're doing interviews and things like that, people like the videos, but the reviews, they want the text so they can go back and reference it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, I agree too. All right, that's great. I guess since we've talked all about the trikes and your experience with the bikes going into the trikes, you're out there a lot. I know from time to time things must go wrong. Now, you've talked about the guy that works on your trike. What about if Maria is out riding somewhere? She's 30 or 40 kilometers away from anybody, and something goes wrong. How capable are you of mechanical things with the trike?
0. 0.
That would be a 0. So tell me what you do, Maria. Tell me how you handle something like that?
This is also maybe part of the charm of my blog. If you go to my homepage and you translate the text, I clearly say, I have no mechanical skills. I can fill air in my tires and I can oil my chain. And for the rest, I have to go to a place with an expert. And many people like that because I'm not alone. And you would be surprised how many men are out there and they feel the same. So sometimes I have a reader who is writing a guest article, and those men, they cover then sometimes the more technological part, of having a trike, and it's very popular because, to be honest, this is why I have this name, because I chose the name recumbent lady, because women still are the minority in the trike world and the recumbent world, and 90 to 95% of my readers are men. So sometimes they're very happy they get some technological articles. And then I just ask a man to write that, because
Right.
I have no skills.
Okay.
I have no
Yeah,
interest.
I think that represents more than just women. I'm sure there are plenty of women who have great skills mechanically, and some don't, and plenty of men who don't as well. This is going to take me, I think, into the next line of questions that have to do specifically with women. So I hope you'll be able to answer these for all of us. My viewers also are 90% men. But I think it's important for all of us to learn what these unique issues might be. And so I'm going to ask you, what are those issues that are characterized by women riding recumbent bikes or trikes that may not be something that a man would know about? Can you tell us about that?
Yes. I didn't do any real serious research on it, so this is my personal guess, based on my experiences and based on some talks I had to women. Women seem to not ride many recumbent bicycles out of two reasons. First is not to underestimate, a lot of women still are economically dependent on their husbands because they raise the children, they don't earn much money. So they simply don't have the money, and they don't ask their husband to support them so they can afford a recumbent. This is something we should not underestimate. And the second reason is that women don't like the attention they draw riding a recumbent. So people look at you, people talk to you, totally strangers approach you and talk to you, and women are not, so comfortable with that.
Sure. And then at one point, I'm sorry, did you have more on that? I don't want to interrupt.
And something else that is not so relevant anymore today, but before the trikes came up and became popular, and many people were riding a recumbent with two wheels, you had this opportunity to have, when you steer, I don't know how this is called, the handlebars, or
yes,
yeah, the handlebars very often were, like at the trike, they were under your seat. And then you had the opportunity to choose a recumbent where you had the handlebars, you could pull them towards you and you had them on top. And when I got my Grasshopper, the dealer, he said he would recommend me to have the one on top because a lot of women feel very uncomfortable laying, presenting their body, and people look at them, and then they it's, as a woman, it's a strange position, and when men look at you, you're laying there, it's very uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable and could be embarrassing, and not a position that you. So how do you, so on a trike, actually, you're still pretty much in the same kind of situation. So how do you overcome that? Do you just learn not to care, or what do you do?
For me, this was not a big topic at all from the beginning, but I also felt comfortable to have something as a protection on top of me. And I believe today it's not a big issue anymore at all, because most people, they choose the seat, the mesh seat, so they don't lay anymore. And it's just you sit.
You're sitting up a little bit more with a mesh seat is what you mean. Okay, absolutely. Fair enough. All right, let's move along to another subject that you've covered in your blog, and I think pertains to, maybe there's some special issues with women, but it pertains to many men as well, having to do with commuting on your recumbent. Tell me what you talk about as far as commuting, and how do you look at commuting for recumbent riders?
Well, I always commuted with my bicycle, and today my my way. If I work a lot from home, but I also have to go 2 or 3 times a week. I have to go out and work at town, and my way is not far anymore. I like to commute, and I commute in all kind of weather. And I made this a topic on my blog because, again, I want to motivate people to use their bicycle more often, and also if it is recumbent or up, it doesn't matter, because it is less complicated than we think, and you are in a very good mood when you arrive. So I cover all the topics, from weather to stinking, washing yourself, what about the clothes, and I think I found during 15 years, I found a lot of strategies and solutions, and so I share that, and I get also response from some people who try it and like it very much, and it makes me happy.
It is a wealth of information, as I said earlier on your blog, and specifically, I really enjoyed your blog about commuting and what you went through and how you suggest just the right things for women and others to commute. So that's wonderful. We're going to move along to talk a little bit about touring. This is a very pertinent topic because, as I've mentioned earlier in the show, we have Sylvia Halpern with us today as well, who does a lot of this. I want to ask about your touring experience. And on live chat, I'm really happy to see our good friend Julie Lovegrove from England, Kent, England, I believe. And she says, I don't always like the attention I get on my recumbent, especially when riding on my own. And Julie and her husband Mark do extensive touring around the world as well on their recumbent. So she is in agreement. Julie, thanks so much for watching today and for that great comment. Okay, Maria, let's talk about touring then. As a woman, of course, I want to get your ideas about touring as a woman, and what you have done touring on your recumbent bikes. Tell us what your experience has been.
Well, I don't go far. Mostly when I go on tour, I do a tour around my home, or I put my trike in the car and I drive somewhere, but I come home the same day, mostly. And I'm very fortunate, that my husband joins me most of the times on their tours, so I'm not alone. But if I imagine to go alone on tour, I would not be afraid, and I would not mind the attention at all. First, I'm used during all these years, but people are so friendly. When people approach me, they always are friendly. They are smiling, and even if they laugh at me, when I pass, they're happy, and mostly I recognize they laugh because they're surprised, or I haven't seen this is funny. So it's not that they look down on you, it's mostly it's a surprise, and they have questions, and I always let people sit on my trike. Sometimes I let them, go around to see how it feels. And so you come in contact with people, you have very nice talks, and people are very friendly most of the times.
All part of your educational process, not just the blog and the videos, but actually getting out there, meeting people, and showing them your trike and how it works, and let them trying it. I think that's wonderful, Maria. Okay, now just I guess more general questions here as we finish up. I so enjoy, as I mentioned earlier, reading your blog and watching your videos. And one of the most important things to me and having you on the show today is to let more people know about what it is that you do, because I think it's valuable. Tell me how you would like to expand your audience, because I think you can tell me, but I think it's mostly confined now to Germany and German-speaking folks. But I think you'd probably like to expand that out to English-speaking folks as well, and see if you get more people to read your blog, see your videos. What's your plan to do that?
I get also emails from American people, and they always ask, could you not have a English version of your blog, and especially of your videos, or at least some subtitles, in English language? And I really would like to do that. And actually, I wanted to start this year, but what keeps me from doing it is the time, because I put a lot of time in my blog. I love it very much. And to do everything double would be a lot of time. I cannot just, have the automatic app on my YouTube videos.
Yeah, let's talk about this for just a minute, because we chatted about it too, and because that's the way that I've been able to get through some of this. So, folks, it's important for you to know what exists, how good it is, and how it could be improved as far as this translation stuff. For Maria's blog, Google Translate will if you set it up, will automatically translate it, and it will give you a pretty good idea of what she's talking about. Clearly, not as a good idea as if Maria is translating it for you, but I recommend that. So use Google Translate on your blog. At least you'll see generally what she's talking about. Also for YouTube videos, I hope some of you around the world who don't speak English very well actually can use this as well. Google has closed captioning on most videos now, and if you go to the settings, you can have the closed captioning translate from the original language into your language. This is less than ideal. Clearly, I've talked to Lars and Maria and a number of other people about this, because you don't really know what they're saying all the time in another language. But again, you can get the idea about what they're talking about, maybe enough to enjoy the video at some level. So this is what I've done in the past with other languages, and I think Maria is talking about something that will improve that. And so translating herself would make a big difference, but it is an incredible amount of time that would need to be taken to do that. So not quite coming up right away. Then is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but I will do that. It will come. That is for sure. Yes. Yeah.
That sounds great. Okay, let's finish up if we could. I've got a viewer question that came via Facebook. I don't know if you can answer this one or not, but we'll put it out there. Maybe somebody on chat. If not, this is from Roger Reddish of Colorado Springs, Colorado. In her reviews, I wish there was one with a recumbent-friendly cycling helmet. Have you looked at any of those, Maria?
I was wearing helmets on my mountain bike, but I stopped mountain biking. And I have not found any helmets yet that, it disturbs me when I lean back. And also I studied a lot of, having an accident with a trike or with a recumbent, and the risk of getting seriously injured at my head is too low as that I would wear a helmet, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's problematic, but maybe some of our other panelists or Sylvia may have some ideas about this too. I think she wears something special. So we'll kind of leave that question open. It's a good one, and see who else might be able to help us with that. Okay, Maria, at this point, I kind of want to wrap it up. So what is it that maybe you'd like our audience to know that we might have overlooked and I might not have asked you? Do you have something you might want to tell the audience that we might not have talked about yet?
Not really, but I'm reading the chat, and there are very specific questions about charging batteries, and so I don't want to go into that in our interview, but one question I saw was, how can I make my wife joining me on my trike? And this is really a big thing for recumbent people, because there are many who have a partner who is not sharing, this enthusiasm for the recumbent world. And I can just tell you how I did it with my husband, if you want.
I do. I think it's a very important question, and it's something that I dealt with myself with my wife earlier on, and we finished off. We actually got into tandeming, using a tandem recumbent bike as one of our solutions. Go ahead. I'm interested in hearing how you handled the problem.
Yeah, well, first I was very empathic because I knew how it feels that you think this is stupid, this looks terrible, and so on. But when I came back from my rides, I was smiling from ear to ear, and I had a very good mood. And I said, "Oh, honey, I wished you could be there." And I was thinking at this specific situation, I was thinking about you, and this you would really have liked, and how nice it would be, if you join sometimes. And so I did it that way. I didn't do, it's great. I didn't bring all the arguments we normally have, better for your back, better for this, and so on. I just, made him want me to join, because he's missing something very great. And men always know, happy wife, good life.
That is the credo of riding a tandem bike. That is exactly what we say. So if your stoker is happy, everybody's happy. So that's right.
One tip I have additionally to that, I made the trips very, very nice for him. First, he was joining with his normal bicycle. So I made a very nice event out of it. We took good food, we had a picnic. I made it cozy, and this he was looking very much forward to, and he wanted to join. And then he got his own recumbent Trike.
See, ever the diplomat. This is what I was talking about, Maria. That's well done. Well done. Okay, I think we're going to leave it there if we can. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to you some more another time. I've so enjoyed this time with you and learning so much more about what you do and your blog and the YouTube channel. I want to know where we can find out more about you. I'm going to list the links to your YouTube channel, and I'm going to list the links to your blog as well. Any place else you'd like for people maybe with more personal questions or whatever? Where can they find you?
And I can answer now. I can read the chat, and I can also answer some questions by writing.
That will be fine. Yeah. So Maria, folks, will be staying with us hopefully throughout the show here, and she will be on the live chat. So feel free to continue asking questions. She'll go back and look at the previous ones and answer those for you. Maria, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So let's move along now. We're going to head out to New York, Alfred Station, New York, to be precise, where we find Peter Stull, the bicycle man, at his shop, about ready to tell us about some historical bikes, like he always does. Peter, are you there?
I am here.
Peter, great. It's good to see you, bud. Let's go ahead and see what you got to say about your history segment today.
Well, let's start out with a slideshow, and then we're going to go walk down a line of bikes over here behind me. This is an Easy One, and it's made in America. It's the original Easy One, designed by Gardner Martin. Gardner Martin told me that when BikeE came out, they decided they couldn't compete with them on price, so they stopped making it. And then they sent the drawings to Taiwan, and the Taiwanese built an exact copy, and it weighs 4 pounds more. So he always thought that was pretty funny that the exact copy would weigh 4 pounds more. Notice this bike has their cool back seat, sort of a modified version of the cool back seat. Other than that, it's very much like the Taiwanese Easy One. It's just a little bit lighter. And this one is, gee, I forget what year that is. It's that would be from the early 90s, I think. Some of the dates on this whole talk are going to be mixed up, so if someone wants to correct me, I'm open to it. My email is pete@bicycleman.com. Next slide, please. This one I know is in 1993. It's the first production of a bike production year for BikeE. And a couple interesting things about it. The first thing I think is interesting is that the beam of the frame is just a rectangular piece of extrusion that you could just go to a extrusion supplier and purchase. And one of the founders of BikeE said that before they designed the BikeE, they saw a Linear. A Linear is another extruded aluminum bike with a beam. Well, it's interesting because the first year of Linear, the first 2 Linears we have in our collection, are also just a rectangular beam that could be purchased from an aluminum supply house. And later on, as their volumes increased, they were able to purchase an extrusion die and get a custom extrusion made. So you can see on this one where the seat attaches, there are two little pieces bolted on the top of the frame, and that's what the seat attaches to. In the later model, that ridge was integrated into the beam. That's exactly the way Linear did it, so that's sort of interesting. Also, this bike is a 7-speed. They discontinued the 7-speed, and then they only had the 21-speed. In '93, the first year, the 21-speed had a front derailleur. And later on, they went with the SOX 3x7 rear hub. Also, notice that unique front fork. That is an unusual fork. And it has custom bearings, which are possibly still available. A company that made the bearings for BikeE offered to sell them to me. They still had some in stock, and they offered to sell them to me, but they only wanted to sell them in quantities of like 200. So I declined. Next slide. You know, it just occurred to me I should start by saying something like, we're going to talk about compact long wheelbase bikes with above seat steering. And these bikes are particularly good for novices because they're easy to get used to. They're particularly handy for bopping around town. They're pretty nimble. You sit pretty upright. You can see and be seen in traffic. They're relatively small, and most of them are relatively inexpensive. There. Now let's go. Oh, gee. Okay, now let's go back to where I was before I so rudely interrupted myself. This is a 2003 Cannondale. And I say 2003 for the next several bikes, I'm dating them. I know that Cannondale was available in 2003. I don't know when this particular bike was made, and I don't know if that's the first year that Cannondale was available, but anyway, I'm calling this a 2003. Notice it's quite similar to the BikeE. Almost all of these have got a 20-inch rear wheel and a 16-inch front wheel, a fairly upright seat, above seat steering. And notice the height of the pedals changes quite a bit. This one is a little higher than a BikeE. This bike was $2,200, made in America. Very nice, very rugged, very heavy. Someday we'll do a segment just on the American traditional bike companies that made, well, the traditional bike companies that made recumbents. That would be Trike, Cannondale, and Giant. And they all made similar mistakes, and none of them are in the recumbent market anymore. This is a very high quality bike, but it's heavy and slow. Some people love them, but it's heavy and slow. So it's, as long as you're not doing long distance or you're extremely strong, that's a great thing. Next slide. Okay, this is a Big Ha, and this is a company that was started, actually it started a little bit before BikeE went out of business, and the same people were involved. Some of the same people were involved. Notice on this one, it's similar. Smaller front wheel, larger rear wheel, but it has quite a bit higher pedals. This was quite an expensive bike. I believe it was $4,000 or so, and it had features unseen on most recumbents, like I believe when the wheel's turning, the headlight automatically comes on. Nice, quite an electronics package there. They spent a lot of money on research. Apparently, they put $500,000 into the design and tooling of the seat. So, yeah. And they sold only direct. They didn't sell to dealers, and they were around for an exceedingly short amount of time. Next slide. This is an HP Velo Spirit. This is a very high bottom bracket, compact long wheelbase. And the Spirit was, the Big Ha, I believe, came out in 2003. The HP Velo Spirit was around in 2003. The Spirit went out of production just a couple of years ago, so maybe 2015 or so. It's an HP Velo, so it's rugged and durable. Nice bike. Next slide. This is a Giant Revive, and this is a low bottom bracket recumbent, or is it a crank forward? It's a little hard to tell, but it is certainly heavy, and it was inexpensive. They sold for, this is the deluxe version with the internal hub. The derailleur version was $700 or $800. So it's a pretty inexpensive bike. It's even less expensive than BikeE. As a matter of fact, BikeE blamed part of their demise upon the Giant Revive, and I believe they sued Giant, claiming that Giant Giant, who manufactured all the imported BikeEs, had taken their design ideas and come over to the States to compete with them, and there were multiple lawsuits back and forth. I think BikeE never paid for their last production run, and
yeah,
Giant,
I was gonna say
go
they
for
sued them
that,
for
Ryan.
taking their design, and Giant sued them for not paying their bill.
Yeah, lawyers are great, aren't they? What do you bet all the lawyers' bills got paid? So this is an interesting bike. It puts you in a very upright position. It's really easy to get used to. I find the seat extremely uncomfortable, not as uncomfortable as a road bike, a traditional bike, but among recumbents, I would say it's one of the least comfortable for me, and it's very heavy. But it was inexpensive, so. Okay, if anyone can tell me anything about this next bike, I really would like to know. We've got one, I know nothing about it. This is a wheeled, W-H-E-E-L-E-D. And the seat is very narrow. We'll walk down the hall here and look at that in just a minute. So I haven't ridden it yet. It has an unusual valve in the tire, and I don't know how to pump it up. I haven't made a lot of effort. We've thought about swapping out the tube so we could pump it and ride it, but these are the originals, so. And we're not that motivated. It's really heavy and it's pretty crude. It's really almost, I think it's homemade, but it's got decals on it. So I think it's probably not homemade. But if anyone knew anything about that bike, I'd love to have a little information.
I want to say it was made in Brazil.
Yes, it does seem to be South America. Yep. Yeah, it's an interesting bike. Brian and I have talked about getting a bunch of bikes from the collection together and inviting people and having a classic recumbent ride, doing a 10-mile ride with a stop for lunch or something. That'd be sort of fun, but we haven't gone any beyond that. So
like a classic car rally, but for bikes.
Yeah.
You'll announce that right here, guys, and we'll see what we can put together.
Now we're in trouble.
And I'll be sure to ask Sylvia in a few minutes when we talk to her if she's seen that wheel down there. She's not in Brazil, but she's working her way down there. So we'll see.
There you go. So I guess you'd have to have a bike that was built before what? Before 2000 to get in the ride, maybe? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah,
anyway.
That sounds fair.
Yeah, okay. And it could be a model that yours could be after 2000, but they were available before 2000. Is that fair? Now we're getting. Anyway. So the next will be a Max Area. And this bike is currently in production. Who knew? All the other bikes that we've talked about are not in production, except possibly the wheeled, which is not available, but it might be in production somewhere. Sylvia will clue us in on that potentially. You'll find it has a lot of the same characteristics of the BikeE, although the frame looks quite a bit different. It has a seating position, handlebar position. It rides quite a bit like a BikeE. It has rear suspension like the RX and AT. The suspension is better executed. I would say the bike in general is better executed. The component quality is better than a BikeE, and it's still in production, and parts are available. And wow, it's great. It's pretty clear. I haven't asked them, but it's pretty clear that they've seen a BikeE before they built this. If you look at the way the seat's built and attached, yeah, they must have seen a BikeE. So, so now I will. If you can put me on, I'm turning off my. Okay, let's. Oh well, okay. There's a couple more slides. That slide shows that we have a bunch of BikeEs in stock, or yeah, Max Areas in stock. So now I'm going to walk around.
And Peter, while you're getting to where you need to go there, so
sure.
Did you tell us where those Max Areas are made?
They are designed and engineered in Canada. So this means made in Taiwan, I think.
All right.
A lot of designed and engineered here, but yeah, it doesn't really mean it. So there is the Easy One. And the most interesting thing about this bike is the seat. It doesn't have struts. It has this aluminum beam in the back to hold up the back of the seat. And if you're familiar with the Tour Easy, which is the papa of this bike, this was a Gardner's idea to make a inexpensive version of the Tour Easy, a little smaller, a little cheaper. This is like the Cobra seat, except they have this aluminum beam in the back of the seat instead of the two struts. The next one is the BikeE. What I thought was interesting about this is you can see here that the seat is attached to this aluminum beam. It's just a rectangular beam, but then they bolt on these two little pieces for the seat to slide on. And then it has the unusual fork. the screen is, I get all backwards. Isn't that unusual fork? And it has a unusual bearings in it also. And then the next bike is the Cannondale. I think it's the Bent 2. I believe the Bent 2 is the one that doesn't have rear suspension, but I certainly could be wrong on that. Again, the email is pete@bicycleman.com. It's a well-engineered and executed Cannondale, like they all were, and expensive and heavy, which is funny because Cannondale is known for such lightweight bikes. This one is not. Next is the Giant Revive, and look at how low those pedals are. My goodness. That is, you know, right. If you put it next to a Day 6, actually, that would be interesting. The riding position will be quite similar to the Day 6, except I think the seat's much nicer in the Day 6. Uh-oh. We have the wheel is laying down the job here.
We have a disaster occurring right before our eyes here.
Now, you can see how wide this seat is. Right? I mean, that is...
yeah.
One of the advantages, I tell people, the advantage of a recumbent, as long as the pedals are underneath the seat on a traditional bike, then the seat has to be narrow enough to fit between your legs. So if you move the pedals, you can make a wider seat. Well, on this bike, they moved the pedals, but they failed to make a wider seat. Put that back. It was taking a nap, so I'll let it go back to sleep. And then here are the Maxaria bikes. And they have a mid-drive, which works well. It doesn't shift gears, but it breaks up the chain. The position of the mid-drive is pretty good about eliminating pogo in the suspension, so the pedaling hard doesn't affect the suspension. This one has the optional tilting stem, which they have given an unpronounceable name to, so I won't try. Locust burr or something. Okay, I tried. Anyway, and if you're familiar with the BikeE seat, if that doesn't look like a BikeE or Burley seat mount, the Burley seat mount was designed by a guy that worked for BikeE previously. So, and so those are still available. If you
what
like
are the prices on those, Pete? What are the prices on those?
That's $1,795, $1,800, something around in there. There's a couple different models. We stock the Ray 2D, which has the dual drive hub. So it's 24 speeds, or is it 27? Let me read the numbers off the twisty here. Yeah, 27 speeds with a 3-speed hub. So you can shift the 3 gears while you're standing still. You can also shift it all with one hand. So if you're one-handed or want to use the other for hand signals or something.
Very good.
And then in the background here are some Day 6s, which you can see have a position kind of similar to the to that Revive, but I think a much nicer seat. And they're still available also. So there you go. That's all I've got for today, and it's been great being with you. So email those corrections to pete@bicycleman.com.
Yeah, I always include that in the description below the video, Peter. Thank you so much. That was fascinating. A look at the BikeE and all then all that came after there. So, and a little bit before. So, thanks, Peter. We will see you next time around. All right, folks. We have next a woman who has been on the show. She was on last fall, telling us a little bit about what she has done in the past. And right now, she is on a trike tour, and we're going to hook up with Sylvia Halpern in Central America, I believe. Sylvia, are you there? Sylvia, are you there?
Oh, no.
This is no time for your audio to go south on us.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's okay.
All right, now we're here. There's a little bit of lag, but now we're here. I'm going to just ask a question, leave you go with it, so we won't be crossing ourselves. Tell us where you are.
I'm actually in Mexico. I'm doing a tour. I flew from Los Angeles to Cancun, and I rode south to Belize. I went through Belize to Guatemala, And now I've crossed into Mexico, and I'm kind of doing a tour. So outside of Cancun, I went to Tulum, and then in Belize, I went to a few smaller sites there, beautiful sites, some that could boat. And now that, and then I crossed into Guatemala.
All right, you're kind of breaking up a little bit, Sylvia. I'm sorry. I'm not sure if everyone heard. So Sylvia is doing a trike tour, and she is trying to visit a number of Mayan ruins. And you can see the pictures here. Let's go ahead and try again, Sylvia. Maybe we got you back a little bit. Tell us what the favorite part of what you've seen so far has been.
You know, it was kind of a spur of the moment decision to do the tour the way I'm doing it. But I went to Mexico for 4 months to study Spanish, and suddenly it occurred to me that I would not be on a bicycle or a trike for over 4 months, and I would be in no shape to climb hills. And so I decided to do this tour because it's very flat. And so I thought, you know what, I could go check out all these Mayan ruins. And
all right. So again, we're kind of having a little trouble with that signal. I'm sorry. I think your bandwidth maybe not quite as good as it was when we practiced. So let's ask one more question here, though. And can you give us an idea what your plan is now for the rest of this tour?
So from here, I'm just going to be in Mexico, and I am in Palenque, which is go Basco, maybe tomorrow, and then I'm going to head to Villa Hermosa.
Okay.
And Itza? No?
Yeah, you're just breaking up. I'm getting a little bit here. I think we're going to have to call it this time, Sylvia.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, well.
It's been a little problem, but we see
you,
and we got the idea. You know what? We'll maybe try next month, if wherever you are, maybe we can hook up and you can give us a little bit. Maybe you'll have a little bit better internet at the time. But thank you for coming on. I know you waited all this time, and we had a little trouble at the beginning. So Sylvia, it's so great to see you. We wish you all the luck in the world. We'll continue to follow you on your tour. Thanks, Sylvia.
Great. Thanks, Gary.
Okay.
Hey, everybody.
See, now that sounded great. Folks, I'm going to, at this point, talk about the contest. We're going to get this going here. So of what you have seen today, here comes 4 questions. Hopefully you have watched and will be able to answer these questions. And I want you to email your answers to laidbackbikereport@gmail.com. So here come the questions. Number 1, what trip was the Azub tie fly designed for? This was in Bryan's news report. The Azub tie fly was designed for a particular trip. What was that trip? Number 2, what trike is Maria currently riding? Maria, the Liegerad Frau, was with us and talked about the trike that she is currently riding, that she loves. What is that trike? Number 3, Maria also has an e-assist. We spent a bit of time talking about e-assist. She has an e-assist on her trike. What brand e-assist is on Maria's trike, I'm sorry. And lastly, in Peter's report, he talked about a number of things, including the BikeE. What recumbent that is currently available to buy has the features of a BikeE? What recumbent that is currently available has the features of a BikeE? So there's the 4 questions, folks. Laidbackbikereport@gmail.com. Send your answers along to me. I'll look them over during Denny's sports report, which is coming up next, and see if we can come up with a winner during the program. Okay, Denny, I guess that takes us to you. Are you there?
Yes, I am. How are you doing?
All right, Denny, take it away, will you?
Okay, this month there's not much to report as far as competition goes. This seems to be a thin year for recumbent and HPV racing to this point. So I'll call out some of the upcoming endurance races with the hopes that some of you viewers will get interested in trying an ultra race, perhaps for the first time. April 20th and 21st is the Texas Ultra Spirit in Fayetteville, Texas. This event features a 12, 24, 6, and 31-mile sprint race on a 7.5-mile open course. Pre-registration only, and that ends on April 18th, so that's coming up. First weekend in May, May 4th and 5th, is the return of Calvin's Challenge bike race. It returns with a new 23.4-mile long loop and a 5-mile short loop. The race returns with a new owner and is a shorter long course as well. Also for this year is a non-drafting 24-hour race with an opportunity to qualify for Race Across America. The 12 and 6-hour races, the mainstay of this event, are still running. Start times for all the races are staggered so that the events end at the same time on Saturday. The 24-hour race will start on Friday evening to accommodate this. It's good to see this race return. It's been very well attended recumbent event in the past with a shorter loop. And a different course, it should make an excellent opportunity to try out your racing legs. It's one of my favorites, really. Saturday, May 20th is the Maryland Endurance Challenge, a 12, 6, and 3-hour race. This race is in its second year and benefits the Students Homeless Initiative of Frederick County, Maryland. The race features the long loop, 34.2 miles, which you'll complete 3 times for a total of about 102 miles. The short loop, 6.6-mile racers will compete as many laps as possible until the clock runs out. The course starts and finishes at Mount St. Mary's University in Emmitsburg, Maryland, in the northern rolling hills. It's a fairly flat course, crossing 3 covered bridges with 1 short but testy climb on the long loop. The 12-hour race is the World Ultra Cycling Championship 12-hour event this year, and there is a day of registration, event registration, and I hope to get to this one this year. I'm looking forward to it. Finally, what looks to be fun but challenging race is the 24, 12, and 6 hours in the canyon in Palo Duro Canyon near Amarillo, Texas. That was a mouthful. The 24-hour racers will do a 100-mile loop. Upon returning to the start, they will continue in time till time expires on a 5-mile loop in the canyon. The 12 and 6-hour racers will ride the entire race in the 5-mile canyon loop. What makes this race unique is the race is also held in conjunction with the 24-hour mountain bike race. Think of it as a bicycle festival that happens to have endurance races. Checking out the website, I note there are a very large number of entries already. Numbers for the ultra cycling road events seem to be on the decline, while mountain bike numbers seem to be steady. As of this week, there are 420 overall registered for the events. Perhaps this is something more ultra races should look into. So that's all for this month. Next month, I hope to have some race results. Doug Davis, my fellow panelist here on Laidback Bike Report, is competing on this weekend's Bessie's Creek 24-hour race in his HPV. We hope to have him here today, but apparently hasn't made it back. 24 hours and trying to get some rest and back haul to home and beyond is just a little bit too much. We hope to have a first-person report from him. Until then, stay on the bike, keep moving forward, and back to you, Gary.
Unmute yourself.
What I was saying was that nobody heard. I did talk to Doug briefly before the show, and he has some personal stuff going on, so he's not able to join us today. But we hope to have him next month, and maybe he'll tell us a little bit about his experience at Bessie Creek. So at this point, let's talk about our sponsors one more time. These guys are wonderful. They are what makes this show go. So I want to thank first of all, if we can, Terracycle. Check out their unique bags and their purple sky flags. And Trailside.bike. If you find yourself in Florida near that Withlacoochee Trail, stop in and see Andrew and his crew. And Velocity, builders of performance wheels and rims, and of course they're handmade in the USA. All right, folks. So at this point, we don't have a lot of responses yet for the contest, so I'm going to let that ride a little bit. I can tell you that our contest winner from last month was Bill West from Naperville, Illinois, I believe. So, Bill, congratulations to you. We'll see if we can get this contest wrapped up before the end of the show live today. If not, maybe we'll just figure it out after the show and let you know about the winner again next month. All right, so let's work towards the end of the show here. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that you might need to know about the Laidback Bike Report after this show is the live show is over. It's going to go up on YouTube as a video. Most of you will be watching at that point. It's a long show, and we try to make it as easy as possible for you to watch what you want to watch, and do it in portions that you want to watch. So we have a clickable table of contents that I will put together right after the show, and you'll be able to click on any section of this show and jump right to it. Watch it in portions if you want, or just watch the parts that you are interested in. And as always, we have lots of links to the people that have been on this show. Liegerad Frau and Peter and Brian, everyone that's on the show. I'm going to show you, I'm going to put in the links how you can get a hold of those people and watch what it is that they do. So that's all in the description of the YouTube video right below the actual watch box of the video. So please take advantage of that if you can. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the next Laidback Bike Report. May 20th is the date that we have at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And we're going to, of course, between now and then, be at Spetzi. I'm going to tell you what we have planned for that in a minute in the announcements. But as we usually do after a major event that we have covered, we're going to have a show where we have our panelists who have attended the show talk about what it is that we've seen, show you a bunch of pictures, answer your questions. Those are always really popular, and we look forward to a great Spetzi this year. So hopefully Brian and Lars will be here along with me to talk to you about what we did see at Spetzi 2018. And so we look forward to that on May 20th, 2 p.m. And then, of course, we'll have Peter with us with another Bent History segment. So how about that trip to Germersheim? There you see Lars in Germersheim, even though he's not actually there right now, like I said in the introductions. We will be heading to Germersheim, covering the Spetzi, which runs April 28th and 29th. We've got a lot of work that we're putting into making sure that this coverage is the best we've ever done. Last year's video has been very popular on YouTube, and I think that's because you guys want to see what it is that's at the show, and each of the trikes and bikes and all the unusual things that go along with an event like Spetzi. We're going to try to bring all that to you again the best way that we can. So you'll see the report that I just mentioned, and sometime in May, after Lars and I get it all edited, we'll have that video up for you to see as well. An exciting event for us after the actual show at Spetzi will be a tour of the Rhine Valley on trikes. And we are being sponsored generously by HP Velotechnik. They are supplying my wife and myself with a couple of Scorpions, and we will be riding with Lars and our friend Oliver Brandemüller on the paths and roads in the southern Rhine Valley and into France, over through Switzerland as well. We really look forward to that. We, of course, will be doing a video of that, and you will hopefully be able to share our experience. We hope you look forward to that. We hopefully will have that in May, maybe a little bit after the Spetzi video as well. And then we also have an announcement from our good friend Hardy Siebeck, who runs the Spetzi show. He has a friend who has written a book that his name is Dietrich Lohmeyer, and it's in German, right? Actually, I don't even think it's out yet. It's about ready to come out. It's in German for now. Maybe will be translated into English eventually. Velomobil, schnell Fahrräder mit Wetterschutz. Yeah, I'm sure I didn't do that well, but my translation says that means fast bike with weather protection, which is what a velomobile is. Hardy says about this book, and he has got an advanced copy, I was fascinated by the huge quantity of velomobiles talked about and pictured in this book. It's well researched and is written for both the novice and the velo fan. So we hope when that comes out, you guys keep your eyes open for it, probably on Amazon. I'm sure there's some European sites as well to look for it. We hope you'll have a chance to look at that as well. Okay, folks, I want to at this point thank all of my panelists, starting, of course, with our good friend Bryan Ball from Bent Rider, who not only generously shows up on this show to help us out every month, but gives us all the promotional benefits of being on Bent Rider. So, Bryan, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome as always. It's always a lot of fun.
Thanks, Bri. And then, of course, all of the other panelists, I'm not going to go through them one by one for because of time constraints, but Denny and Larry and Lars, Trey and Peter, thank you so much for all the contributions that you make to the show today and always. And my guest, Sylvia Halpern, sorry we had a little bit of trouble getting you online from Mexico, but we got a little bit done. And lastly, our special guest, Maria Dompierre.
It looks like Gary lost audio there.
I think that's a cable issue, and what Gary is meaning to say is, thank you, good afternoon, and we hope you enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
There you go, you're back again.
Am I back? Yeah, I don't
Yep.
know what happened there. I just got on, never mind what I did. Okay, well, I was thanking, did you hear me thank everyone?
Enough.
Thank you, everyone. I guess let's go right there. And I would hope at this point you guys will take the opportunity to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the Laidback Bike Report Facebook page, and check out our website, www.laidbackbikereport.com.
Hit the little bell so you know when we're live.
Exactly. That's what I say. Am I saying that, or did you say that?
I said that.
Good. Thank you. So I wasn't sure if I was gone again. So, okay. Yeah. Hit the little I, of course. And while you're at our website, it looks something like that. You can see all of our sponsors at the top of the page. Please support them. You'll see our most recent show, our upcoming shows, our past shows, and some bonus material that don't always make the actual webcast. And you can sign up for our mailing list. I'll send you a couple of emails a month letting you know what's going on when our next show is. And of course, while you're there, you might be able to buy a hat. That's right. No one wears it better than Larry Varney does. Please buy a hat. It'll help support us. $20. It's $5 shipping and handling. So that will help us out. You can find it all at the Laidback Bike Report, www.laidbackbikereport.com. So thanks all of you for sticking with us today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Until our next webcast, from all of us at the Laidback Bike Report, so long, Bent Riders.